Serving your warrants is housing. Diversion programs are housing. Shelters are housing. Sanctioned camps are housing. Going home is housing.
Washington state is facing an ongoing housing and homelessness crisis. In deep blue Washington, progressives often point to a lack of affordable housing and economic inequality as the main drivers.
The challenge in starting Housing First was to take that person's word and trust that they knew what they needed more than what we believed they needed.
So what is Housing First? In short, the Housing First model prioritizes providing immediate, permanent housing without preconditions like sobriety or treatment for addiction. That doesn't mean supportive services are entirely ignored, but those services are voluntary and come after housing is secured, and are many times provided for years without the recipient being required to accept any life-improving services in exchange for taxpayer-funded housing.
No, there's no requirement for addiction treatment, and there's no requirement for mental health treatment, but there's a requirement that you have to accept a home visit by the case manager who will help you, get into treatment. The other model of insisting on treatment, look, we have done randomized controlled trials, okay? So you have 2,000 people on the street, and then half of them go into a Housing First program, and the others are in a program that requires treatment and sobriety in order to get into housing. At the end of 2 years, 80% of the Housing First people are housed and staying housed, and at the same period of time, 40% of the people that you require treatment are housed, and the others are still struggling to get sober because it's very hard to get sober when you're homeless.
Critics of the Housing First approach model are not at all convinced, arguing that this model is not a comprehensive solution because studies suggest it is more effective at providing housing stability for a segment of the population than dealing with the root causes of homelessness.
Everything is in the name of people are struck by poverty, they're struck by racism, they're struck by trauma. And to that I say they're struck by drugs. If there wasn't drugs, they wouldn't be addicted. And we need to intervene, and we need to intervene way before we put a roof over people's heads. Treatment is housing.
Why are we holding people who are poor to a higher standard? Are we holding everybody in the state of Washington to, if you're housed, you got to stop drinking, and you got to stop using, and you got to have your mental health and be taking your Lexapro and going to therapy? No.
Conservatives, meanwhile, emphasize personal responsibility, addiction, mental illness, and government overregulation. Both sides agree we need more housing, but they disagree sharply on why people end up on the streets and what to do about it.
We've simply politicized that homeless folks are a protective class. Everybody's afraid of the ACLU being sued. Camp resolutions, or sometimes called sweeps, are, now it's like people are throwing away their property, leave everybody out until they get a home. The ideology of housing is now a human right. It's an ideology that we should have government supplied housing for all, social housing, and basically leave people where they're at until we can have the revolution and put all of that in place.
Housing First model, that's truly a Housing First model. And that's not putting 20 people or 40 people in a converted motel with one case manager and everybody's using drugs, okay? That's not what Housing First is. You need to have support services that match the needs of the people that you're serving, and that includes like security for that building, on-site property management, as well as case management, like a program that is set up to actually succeed with the people you've housed. Most of the Housing First stuff that I think works best is when you have the tenant-based vouchers, so you don't put everyone who's addicted in one building. You find apartments, and they're in the community, and they're living with neighbors that have regular lives, and the community is actually part of the healing. It's like because people behave the way their neighbors do.
What all this means for Washington state is not entirely clear, but one thing is certain: the conversation about how best to solve homelessness being fueled by the drug crisis is far from over.